Welcome to the Bushido Gang. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's AttackonSamurott, bringing you all my review and reactions to my matches on Pokemon Showdown for the DPP Global or DPP OU Global. So in case you don't know about Smogon or Pokemon Showdown has is owned by Smogon, and they do a whole lot of tournaments within the simulator. So there's like a bunch of tours that go on, and there's this tour that's going on right now for the global for the global. So the global is basically just like a whole bunch of other old gen stuff. So right now I'm playing for DPP, or I signed up for DPP Global, and I wanted to play it again. It's not my first time playing in this. I played it twice now. I played it in 2020 and I played it in 2021. So yeah, it's third time, I guess. But yeah, I'm back in it, or I'm in it now to play in it. So just gonna see how this one goes. It's a double elimination. So I'll be playing against 2 players every round. So yeah, this is my round 1 match against Heysup. I'm gonna go over the other one as well. I'll have the other one on the side, so you guys can be on the lookout for that, of course. But yeah, I have to play against Heysup, and I have to play against another player known as another player called VoltyPichu. So Heysup is a pretty strong opponent. Again, I've heard of him a couple times before. Again, he's known for playing DPP, but he also plays other tiers as well. But yeah, he's a very competent player. So I knew that playing against him was not going to be easy. So really, when I went into the mindset, I kind of went into the same mindset that I had when I played against Finchinator for the NU Open, where I kind of just played it the way I wanted to. I kind of just I didn't really think too much about it. So I kind of just brought whatever I felt like I wanted to bring, and pretty much just played it. So yeah. Before we get started, please make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, join my Discord, the Bushido Gang, and subscribe for some more content on the channel. And yeah, so without further ado, let's dive into Game 1, Round 1 versus Heysup. So here we go. Alright, so turn 1, he leads Raikou, and I lead Infernape. Now, Raikou is an interesting lead. It's not something you typically see. In DPP OU, you rarely see that, or you rarely see Raikou lead, just because it's not really that great of a lead in general. I mean, it's it depends on the lead. It's good against, I guess. Nah, I don't really want to say it's good against it's good against stuff like Scarm lead and whatnot, since you can force out the switch in, and it's good against stuff like even opposing water leads. But outside of that, it doesn't really do too much, so it's not really the best kind of lead. In fact, you kind of force them on out in most cases, but a lot of the time they might just stay and just get as much damage as they can in the lead position. Kind of similar to how it acts in ADV in that kind of sense. Except in ADV though, it's a little bit more threatening because of the sand chip, and also because Raikou the mon just hits harder, and plus you don't have to invest into speed for it, since the meta is pretty slow. So you pretty much just invest into its bulk. You can invest into its bulk, or just make it full on special attack and just make it modest or whatnot. But yeah, speed isn't the biggest deal for Raikou when it comes to ADV. Now here in DPP though, it does matter, since a lot of the mons are base 100 and above. So Raikou needs to be as fast as possible. Which means it may have to drop a little bit of its special attack investment, or not investment, I mean, but just because it needs to be timid to actually have to beat things, so it's gonna be a little bit weaker. But still, the mon hits hard. But in this scenario where it comes to Infernape versus Raikou, I'm just gonna give you a little bit of a hint, or not a hint really, but pretty much just a little a bone really. Infernape for my lead, Infernape's pretty much gonna be a sash lead with hazards down. Or with rocks, so just your standard rocks lead Infernape. So pretty much this is what Infernape's going to be acting for my team. I want to get rocks down to just apply pressure earlier for his team. Getting rocks down in DPP is very important, because you want to make sure you can chip things down as soon as possible, and just make sure that you get the momentum really, because rocks really do make a difference here. They make a big difference in a meta like DPP, since everything is so fast paced and everything just hits incredibly hard too. So yeah, Anyways, Riku's gonna go for Thunderbolt, and I'm just gonna stay in here, or I can just fake out and break whatever it's doing. So I go for the fake out there, and I get some chip on Lottie. Lottie goes for Dragon Pulse on me, and I go for Rocks now. So I get my Rocks and I let Ape go because I can bring in Tar right now and just trap this thing, since Lottie's just trapped, it's locked into a Dragon Pulse. And it is Specs Dragon, and it is a Specs Dragon Pulse as well, so it's going to be doing a lot, but I can just shoot this thing and not have to really worry about it. Since I know it's just going to stay here, I'm just going to go for Crunch anyway and just let it go. So there goes Lottie. I could have actually just kept going for Pursuit anyway to kind of give the, give the illusion that it might be Banded. But if I was Banded, Lottie would have died already. So, so yeah, it's not exactly the case. But yeah, Pursuit was still fine anyway. It's still covered for it anyway. So Pursuit was still the better play. If he did switch out though, on the Pursuit, which I mean he wasn't gonna do anyway, but like if he did, then that would have looked kind of silly. But I would have got chip on stuff as well, and Lottie would have been chipped enough for my end game on. So like pursuing there was fine regardless. Now Pert's gonna come in here, and Pert is definitely scary. That's something I don't really want to deal with, and I don't really know what's gonna do. So I'm gonna go into Gyarados here instead and scout whatever Pert does, and Pert goes for Ice Punch on me. Punch was interesting. I guess maybe he predicted that I was switching to something else, or he just wanted the chip on Tar. I'm not really too sure why he went for Ice Punch there, but I'm assuming he tried to catch like maybe a grass or something that could come in, or something like that. But yeah, I could have stayed with Tar since Tar got rid of Lottie, and really Tar's main job is to get rid of Lottie, and also and also handle like the Rotom as well if there is a Rotom in the back. So that's why I wanted to keep Tar healthy, just in case there is one. But yeah, I bring in Gyara here, and Gyara does cover for Pert fairly well, since Pert can't do much back to Gyara anyway, besides go for like Toxic or just phase it really. So I can set up with this thing pretty freely and not really have to fear too much. So Skarmory's gonna be the one to come in here, and I go for my DD. Now Skarmory, it kind of depends really on the variant, but a lot of the time Skarmory is going to be more defensively oriented, so Waterfall will be kind of bouncing off it, but not really, because there's also the chance of a flinch as well. But yeah, it really depends on the team structure. Sometimes Skarmory can be max defense, sometimes it can be like a little bit bulkier on the special side, since it takes both the physical hits and special hits at least relatively well. Especially in the case of Latias. But yeah, here I just wanted to go be offensive with Gyarados and just get as much damage as I can. I can cover for anything else that would have came in here. But yeah, I go for my DD, I go for Waterfall. I do 55% and I get a flinch as well. So that flinch really just kind of put the momentum in my favor, because now this thing can't go for phasing, can't do anything. So basically, Skarmory's dead now. So Skarmory is going to die, so he just sacks it there. He has ways to, bounce back with, again, the Pert as well. But if I flinch the Pert as well, then it's basically dead. But anyways, like, even without the flinches, it would have been a 2 KO. But yeah, Pert's dead. Can't do much with that, so he just sacks it. And there it goes. Now you can try and revenge kill me with something faster, which the mon that's faster is going to be the Luke. And I pretty much just say, I don't really need Gyara. And in case he wasn't like, in case he just went for E-Speed, I mean, I didn't really care because I had something else in the back to take care of the Luke. But yeah, seeing that this was like Choice Scarf, I pretty much just knew, okay, this is Choice Scarf, which means I have something else in the back that can actually outspeed it and be able to finish it off. So I'm just like, okay, I'll let Gyarados die. So I'll let Gyara die, and I can bring in Dragonite, and Dragonite can actually take the hit pretty well since it's locked in. So what I do is I go for an Earthquake, which just covered Luke and also covers wherever the switch would be. There goes Raikou, so Raikou dies, and his next spawn that could come in, that's a, well, actually, yeah, this thing comes in and can Ice Punch me since it's Scarf. So I want to make sure I don't let Dragonite die. So what I do here is that I go into Tar and I let it die. Now, honestly, I don't think this was a good play on my end, letting Tar die like that, because I don't know what the last mon is yet. But I actually did mention it in the in the section that I recognize this team, because I've seen this team before, because I saw it in SPL, Showdown Premier League. Somebody, I forgot who used it. I'm so sorry. Like, again, I covered that game too, which is funnier, but which is even funny. But yeah, oh wait, no, it was shoot, it was, damn, I can't think of their name. I don't know why. But yeah, it was used in Smogon. It was used in a Smogon Premier League. So I recognized like the way the team looked. So I kind of just like, the moment I picked it up, I kind of just figured out, okay, that's what's happening here. So yeah, I just pretty much decide that since I know what the last one is, or I have an idea what the last one is, I don't really need Tar anymore. But honestly, I should have kept it, because the mon that was last, I think Tar would have definitely helped against that very very well. It was just hard-walled. Well, not hard-walled it, but it definitely would have checked it fairly well. But yeah, letting this die wasn't really that great, but it's okay. I pretty much let it go down. I can bring in something else to revenge this. And I bring in the Starmie now, since again, this is locked in. I go for Hydro here. Hydro fails to kill, but the Rotom is dead, or is actually lefty, so I can just spam Thunderbolt here. And not really have to risk going for Hydro Pump. So I go for Thunderbolt on the Luke switch, as pretty much Rotom's dead to Sand and Rocks, or it's going to die to Rocks anyway, so goes for the crunch there. I bring in Dragonite, and I can just go for E-Speed, and Rotom dies, and Luke is already in the range where E-Speed will kill since this is Banded Dragonite. So yeah, that's gonna be a dead Lucario, and that's gonna be the game. So that's gonna be game 1 versus Heysup. Again, not like the most exciting game, but it is what it is. I did get lucky, I'm not gonna lie. I got very lucky with Gyarados, getting that flinch off. If I didn't get that flinch, well, I mean, even if I didn't get the flinch off, I still would have been in a fairly good position, since, again, this team doesn't really handle Starmie very well. It also doesn't handle my last one, which I think might have been, I forgot what my last one was. I think it was a Scarfer. I think it might have been Rotom or something. But I didn't really fear this too much. So that's why I decided to just be aggressive and just go for, and just, that's why I decided to just, apply as much pressure as I can with Gyarados, then have something else in the back clean up. Which again, even Dragonite would have been able to clean up here as well with E-Speed once Rotom went down, and also once Luke got chipped even more. So yeah, I was okay with that. I was okay. So overall, I think I played fairly well against Heysup. But this next game is going to be interesting as well. So we're gonna move on to game number 2. And game number 2, well, this one was actually, let me see if I could just, I kind of wanted to just like, whatever, it doesn't matter anyway. Okay, so game number 2, game 2, I think I used an offensive team because again, he brought one as well, and I knew that after playing the first game, I knew that I had to really just be aggressive at that point, because like if I wasn't gonna be aggressive and try and go for this, then well, it really wouldn't work out. So I decided just to be aggressive and just bring in a more offensive team. But yeah, here we go. So game 2, he's got Azelf lead as I lead Tar. Now, actually the team I was using, I was also testing it out as well, and I felt like it was pretty okay in case he brought some offensive things, because I do have some things I could kind of check those offensive mons fairly well. But again, it didn't really work out as well as I would have planned it, or as well as I planned, because one of the sets on this team didn't really work out too well for me. I'm gonna say that right now. But yeah, Azelf lead is, it's your good old fashioned just get up rocks and just die lead. So what I should have done with Tar is, well, I mean, what you do with Tar lead, Tar can do a lot of different leads. Again, you can run Scarf, you can run like passive stuff, you can do a lot with Tar. Tar is a very interesting lead in that sense. Roxip as well, but yeah, Scarf Tar is a pretty good lead for like more balanced teams, balanced in like bulky offense, I'd say, but more balanced really than bulky offense. So you want to be able to remove like the lead as early as possible. So yeah, as of lead, I should probably suit this thing, but I didn't. I went for Rocks. That was a bad call. I could have prevented that and at least suited it, so that way I couldn't do anything else afterwards. But yeah, now that he knows I'm Scarf, he could actually play off that. But yeah, I did not do that. I did not play that well at all. I didn't have to trade Rocks with Azelf for the turn 1 lead, because I already have another rocker in the back. It's always good to have a backup rocker. That way you can still apply pressure, or that way you can still like get Hatchers down with something else later. But yeah, Tar doesn't really have to go for Rocks in the turn 1 position, unless I'm fighting something that Tar can't really handle. Then I could go for Rocks. But yeah, in this case though, I definitely should have suited the Azelf, because Azelf basically would have died. But yeah, it's okay though. So now he knows I'm Scarf. He can just go for U-turn or just boom. And my Gliscor died. And that was my rocker actually. That was my rocker. But yeah, that dies. I bring in Tar against his own Tar. And my Tar is actually going to be like I said, superpower. Or I mean Scarf, and it has superpower as well. So I feel confident enough to just go for it. So I go for it. I go for superpower. He's Choppable DD. So he's able to take it barely. But yeah, he can go for DD here. And luckily, I'm able to outspeed it, and I can still kill it. So the Tar goes down, which is definitely appreciated. But he can bring in another Sweeper, and I don't really want to deal with that. So Dragon's going to be the one to come in here, and I have to go Skarmory here, but Skarmory can take the hit. I can take a +1 DD Fire Punch from Dragonite, so I could just whirlwind this out and also let it take more chip. So I live it barely, 73%. I get the whirlwind off. Kendra's in here, and I'm just like, oh hell no. Kendra's a scary ass mon. That mon's scary for a couple reasons. One, for one, you don't really know what it could be until you actually see the team for itself. Now, luckily, now seeing this game, and also like, you know, seeing it post like, what's it called? Seeing this post commentary, it kind of, I don't want to say it made sense for Kendra to be on this kind of team. I don't really want to say that, I don't, but Kendra is definitely dangerous on teams like these with like triple Dragon Dance users. Like actually, pretty much Kendra being here means that there's no Gyarados here, because running Gyarados plus Kendra just doesn't really make too much sense. Since, you know, Kendra's just better at it, and it's just, well, I don't want to say better, but it's bulkier than Gyarados to the sense that it doesn't take as much damage, and also, you know, it's just neutral to most things. Well, of course, like, Kendra just has to be aware of dragon coverage, and that's it. Gyarados has to be aware of rocks, rock coverage, electric coverage as well, so it's not really that favorable for Gyarados in a situation like this. But Kendra is a fantastic DD or Dragon Dancer. So, what I should be doing with Skarmory, since it's basically dead, I should be phasing with this thing, but, I don't know what Kendra's doing, so I just let it die. So I let this die, pretty much. And now what I can do is I can bring in, my Lodic here. Now, my Lodic is actually going to be a hazing set. Oh, wait, yeah, my Lodic has haze on this, so I don't really have to fear, you know, fear DD. But he's running Yawn plus, he's running Yawn DD Kendra, which is very, very interesting and very cool. I gotta say that's very cool. Basically, what Yawn does is that it forces your opponent to go to sleep, or makes them go drowsy, and, you know, the following turn they would go to sleep. So you pretty much just allow yourself a free DD off that turn, which is actually really sick. Thinking about it, because you get a lot of momentum off that, so that's actually really cool tech. But yeah, I can't do much with my Lodic. I mean, I can definitely haze it to stop it from going for DD, but I can't do much else afterwards. And also, I missed my Toxic, which sucks, but it didn't really matter since his Kendra was like a Lumberry set, so the Toxic didn't really matter too much in the end, and I go Loom here instead on the DD. And luckily, my Loom is very bulky, so I can actually live a hit from this thing. Just barely, though. Just barely. I barely lived this outrage. I managed to get the Seed Bomb off and do a lot to the Kendra. So now basically I can potentially go back into my Lodic and maybe live a hit from it. Then I can be able to just surf it off and kill it. Actually, it wasn't Lum. My bad. So, oh no, he was Lum. It just activated right there on the following turn as I brought on my Lodic. But yeah, he can go for outrage here and I die. They're probably wondering, Samurai, how did that die? Well, my Lodic is Spadef. It's not good. Spadef, my Lodic is not really that great. I don't know why I made a Spadef, looking back on it. I think at the time I was thinking about Latias a lot. So I thought Latias would be kind of a problem for my team. But it really wasn't that big of a deal when I had, you know, the Tar in the back as well. Tar could still apply some pressure to Latias, so I wasn't really that worried, but yeah, I definitely should have made it max defense, because I mean, I would have lived it fairly well, but yeah, it wasn't that great for me, I'm gonna say that. But Kendra's basically dead at this point after Sand Chip, so pretty much I can just go Rotom here and just go for Thunderbolt at this point. So I go for Thunderbolt, it does kill out the Kendra. So now pretty much looking at this team, I'm deducing that there's probably another Dragon, or another Sweeper. There's no Gyarados here, because again, if there was Gyarados, then this would have been the Gyarados here. So there's probably another Sweeper here, and there's potentially a Scarfer here. So that's why I wanted to keep my two Scarfers on the back. I wanted to keep Tar, and I wanted to keep Rotom still, because Rotom can still Thunderbolt everything, because Dragonite will die. Dragonite will die at 40% after rocks. So, or yeah, will die at like 40-50% after rocks. So I can just Thunderbolt that and kill it off. But again, I don't know what the last one is, which is why I want to be very cautious. Because I mean, if it's like Luke or something, that could still be very scary for me. But if it's Latias, then again, that's still kind of scary, but I have the Tar in the back, which can still take a hit from it as well. And also, if I get it chipped enough, then I can just spam Thunderbolt and be able to end game this. So yeah. And lo and behold, it is a Latias. So I have to go Tar here, and Tar can't take a hit. So Tar comes in on Surf. Surf is doing a fuck ton, but Tar is able to take the hit though, since Tar is very bulky. And I can get the suit off, do enough to where Thunderbolt can actually kill. And he's Life Orb as well, so that makes things even easier because we'll be taking Sand Chip plus Life Orb Chip, which means that Thunderbolt will be able to kill that off. And I'm in a very good spot to win here, I'd say. So I Thunderbolt that, or I have a pretty good odds at winning here. I'm not gonna say I can win here, but I have very good odds at this point. So I go for Thunderbolt there. Just kill out the Latias. Dragonite's the last one to come in, or Zamon to come in, and we'll dab the Thunderbolt at that range. And all that's left is Lucario. And yep, Lucario's the last one there. And Lucario, depending, again, like, it really kind of depended on this Lucario, because Lucario is interesting. You can run Scarf, but I think Scarf fits better on teams that aren't like fully offensive like this. This is pretty much a hyper offense team, like through and through. Pretty much just set up and try and win at that point. But yeah, Luke usually doesn't run like coverage for Rotom. It's usually just gonna be, especially in an SG set, it's just gonna be, you know, close combat, E-speed, and like some stab, or not stab, yeah, like, I mean, I already mentioned stab, it's close combat, but like some other like stab option, or some other option to hit Dragonite or hit Flygon. So usually it's gonna be Ice Punch. But yeah, I felt confident enough to where I didn't really have to fear about. I didn't have to fear crunch. I mean, if it was gonna just crunch, it would have just done it already. I would have lost this game. But yeah, he was just gonna be an SG set, and I knew I could potentially live. Especially because he went for BP as well, and BP really scared the shit out of me. I was just like, yo, what? I think with a crit, he actually would have killed me. I think with the crit, he definitely would have killed me. But yeah, that scared the fuck out of me, man, seeing that bullet punch. But yeah, I was able to live it barely, and that's going to be the game. So Rotom is able to take that dub, or able to take the dub, and we beat Heysup. Again, a very tough game. It may not have looked like it, but man, he brought a lot of offensive threats, and luckily I had at least something to cushion those things with Skarmory plus my Lodic, and also the Loom as well. But yeah, I definitely got overwhelmed pretty quickly by Kingdra. That Mon is something you really don't want to mess around with. That thing is very scary in some situations. That thing can really just come in clutch. But yeah, luckily, again, Rotom came in clutch, was able to clean up the rest of this game. So yeah, that's pretty much gonna be that. So hope y'all enjoyed game one, or I mean, my first set for round one of DPP Global. But yeah, here we go for round two, or for set two of round one, where I played against VoltyPichu. So this game was very interesting. This series was very interesting. He played pretty fast, by the way. He played fairly fast when we were playing. I didn't really expect that, but you know, I pretty much just tried to keep up with his pace and just played the best of my Just played to the best of my ability. I will say though, he played very well throughout this series because he was really just able to get a lot of momentum going for him like early on. Especially in this game, but mostly because I didn't play it well. I'm gonna say it. I didn't play this game well, or I didn't really play this series that well. Especially in this game, especially in this one. But the last one, well, I'll talk about that one once we get to it. But this one right here, I did not play very well. I'm gonna show you why. I lead Empo, and he leads Heatran. So Heatran lead usually gonna mean it's gonna be Sash, or it's gonna be like some offensive thing. So I have Empo lead, and Empo lead just smashes this thing a lot of the time. So I mean, he could go for Rocks if he wants to. I didn't really care. I decided to just pump this thing straight up. And yeah, he goes for Earth Power, it doesn't kill me. I go for Hydra there, and I kill it back. So the Heatran might have been either Scarf, or it might have been like maybe it might have been Shook a Heatran, maybe. But yeah, Hydra's able to kill that off, and I get rid of Heatran, which is a very big deal. Luke's didn't come in here, and I just let Empo die because I really need it. Seeing him go for close combat told me that he's definitely Choice Scarf. So I go Flygon here, and he's Jolly Choice Scarf, and I'm just like, what? I thought, and I went for U-turn thinking he switched, but he just stayed in. I'm just like, wait, what just happened? So he brings in Tar here, and I go for Surf. Surf actually does a decent chunk since I'm actually extra belt on this, but it is just not enough. And I go for Draco here thinking it would kill, but nope, it doesn't kill. and I died to crunch. So that happened, and there it goes. I go tar here thinking I'm faster, but I'm not, so I die. so I die. So everything's just kind of falling in place, really. I go into Flygon here, and I go for Earthquake instead of U-turn. Not like it really mattered anyway. But yeah, I go for Earthquake there. Gengar's going to be the Mon coming here, and I go Rose right here. And he goes for Shadow Ball. That's doing a lot to my Rose, especially with the Sand Up. But yeah, I'm not really going to get too much off that. And he goes for Taunt as well to stop me from doing anything. So I go for Spike, and, it doesn't matter since he's going to be a Taunt Gar. So yeah, this did not go very well. I go for Grass Knot. Grass Knot did 20%. So I didn't do too much damage for me, or I didn't really do too much for me. I'm able to chip it enough, but like it doesn't really matter since I mean the Luke really pieced me up. That Mon pieced me up, man. So did Tar as well, but pretty much Luke really just did it for me. But yeah, Shadow Ball is gonna knock me out. I go into the Magnet Zone. I'm trying to go for a T-Wave in case he misses Focus Blast, but he lands it. I do get the T-Wave off, but at this point I'm just like, you know what, man? You can take the win. I already lost this one. So I go for Thunderbolt, not really caring, and pretty much that's going to be that. I can't beat the Luke since it's faster than my Flygon. And that's going to be game 1, so I lose game 1. Yeah, Jolly Luke, man, Jolly Luke. And I'm also Adamant Flygon. Yeah, I didn't know what to say about that one. That one really caught me off guard, man. That one really caught me off guard. But yeah, we're an Adamant Flygon on this team because I believe I had it for handling Gyarados, because Gyarados is actually annoying for this team, and having something that could outspeed it by 1 point, even being Adamant, is enough for me to be able to knock it off or be able to beat it with Thunder Punch. Since this was a Thunder Punch Scarf Flygon. But yeah, I've used this team before in a video previously, a long time ago. That was on the Specs Empo team, or on the Specs Empo video I did. But yeah, Specs Empo is just so fun. That's a very fun Mon to use. Unfortunately, it did not do too much besides get the kill on Heatran. And then we got pieced up by Luke plus Tar. so yeah, Luke plus Tar definitely can demolish this kind of team. Can demolish my kind of team, unfortunately. But yeah, that didn't go too well for me. And we ended up losing game 1. Now, if I was a Jolly Scarf Flygon, I probably was okay. And I probably would have been able to get through the Tar and the Gengar fairly well. But yeah, can't account for it. Can't account for that. That really caught me off guard. I should have went for Earthquake. But again, I only went for U-turn in case he wanted to try and make some calls. But I don't think U-turn's really like that safe. Especially because he went for close combat. Like, and I guess maybe he just knew that if I was Jolly and I went for Earthquake, he probably had something else in the back that could actually set up on me, which might have been a Gyarados here. Could have been Gyarados or like some DD setter. But yeah, there had to be like some kind of setter, some kind of sweeper here in the back. Again, I'm assuming that it might have been Dragonite or it might have been Gyarados here. But yeah, we lost game 1, so let's move on to game 2. It's game 2. Game 2, I had to like bring it back. I had to bring Kingdra. Yeah, I'm gonna say it. I brought a rain team for this one, or a semi-rain team for this one. Now he brought something again. He brought a offensive team again. He brought another offensive team. So I pretty much just said, you know what, I got to bring a sweeper that can actually apply pressure against him a little bit harder than, because I mean my team didn't really have a sweeper, to be fair. Going back to game 1. Oh wow, I didn't mean to do that. Wait, this is actually game 2. My bad. Yeah, going back to wait, hold on, is it? I think I'm gonna be wrong. No, this is game 2. Okay, I'm tripping, man. I'm tripping. But yeah, going back to but I can't even. Yeah, going back to game 1, I just had a feeling that he seemed to be the type to just run a lot of offensive stuff. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna bring my own offense, and just apply pressure there. But yeah, my last team didn't really have a sweeper, to be honest. I mean, you could technically say Latias was a sweeper, but not really that. I mean, it wasn't like that great of a sweeper. Like it was okay, but again, it wasn't like the best, especially with Tar kind of going through it as well, and Luke as well. So it wasn't really that great. But yeah, I decided, I need to bring something a little bit more offensive, and that's why I decided to bring that rain team. Yeah, I forgot what he brought. But we're gonna find out right now. We're gonna find out together. So he brought Skarmory, and I let Pert. So Skarmory can do a lot of different things. You got your typical defensive Skarm lead, you got your typical like taunt Skarm lead, and for some reason, just again based on the last game, I had a feeling he was taunt Scarm, so I still went for rocks anyway, and he went for taunt there. So what I do here is I go into Rose here, and he's going to go for rocks there. So he gets his rocks down for free. I go for sleep powder here. And judging by the fact he just let that go to sleep, told me that he must have been, you know, he must have been a Lumberry set. Or not Lumber, he must have been a Sash set. So I go for Fire Blast here, and he is going to live on 1. So he is confirmed to be a Sash lead Scarm. But he is asleep for 4 turns, and I get the kill on the Skarmory. So I get the kill there. Flygon comes in here, and I go into Bronzong here on the EQ. And what I do here is I go for a Gyro Ball, and he goes for Fire Blast, and that does a fuck ton to me since this is Mixed Gon. And Mixed Gon is something you don't really want to mess around with, but Gyro Ball's going to be doing a fuck ton to that Gon. So I go Pert here on the EQ, and I go for the Ice Punch here on Gon, because I want that thing gone. I want that thing gone. So Gon's going to get punched out, and he can bring in something to set up on me, but it's going to be Lottie, and I go for rocks here, I think. Yeah, I go for rocks here, because I mean, at that point, I didn't really care about Pert. Pert getting down rocks was like, whatever. If he attacked me, that was fine. I actually get momentum off that with Heatran, or I can go into Bronzong and get my rain up. So like, this going down didn't really matter too much to me. Rocks mattered in case he had like a DD Soda, like he had Dragonite or something, but he's gonna be a Calm Mind set, so Calm Mind Lottie is definitely scary. He goes for Surf. I live barely, and I go for the Roar here, and I'm able to get momentum off that. So I'm able to force out the Lottie and bring in Tar, and Tar's gonna be able to lose his Lumberry, which is very, very useful for me. Very, very good here. So goes for Earthquake, kills me off. I get to bring in. Oh yeah, by the way, hold on, that matters a lot. This Pert was like 222 speed, and 222 is just enough to outspeed Adamant Tar. So this being like max speed, Tar is very important. That's actually very important to note there. Because if he was Adamant, then I wouldn't be able to get the EQ off and be able to damage Tar or potentially kill it. But yeah, so Pert going down there, it's fine. Again, I got to see what kind of Tar he was, so I still got a lot of knowledge out of that anyway. But yeah, basically, I want Tar gone, so that way Kingdra can have free reign with the rain. So I go for his Leaf Storm here to get as much damage as I can on Tar, but Tar is just bulky, man. That Mon is so damn bulky, bro. That Mon be living, man. That Mon lived on that Leaf Storm, and I'm able to dive with Ice Punch, but he will die to the poison. I didn't even notice I got poison there. I didn't even notice I had the poison point. But yeah, I'm able to get that off. Alright, I mean, getting that poison point really mattered there, and pretty much Tar dies there. So I didn't even notice that when I played. I just brought in Bronzong afterwards, thinking that, you know, yeah, pretty much just letting it come in anyway. But yeah, I didn't even notice that. But that poison point actually saved my ass. But yeah, Rotom's gonna come in here, and Rotom can do a couple things. Rotom could trick me, and I really wouldn't care. I really wouldn't care that much. Because, I mean, he would have, he didn't, like, he would have no item or anything, but, like, still, this being able to remove his Scarf would give him potential setup opportunity with Lottie. So, what I do here is I go for Rain Dance, because I know once I get the Rain Dance up, then Kingdra can just do its thing. So, what I do here is I go for my Rain Dance. I don't really care about Thunderbolt. I don't care whatever he does. I want my Rain Dance up. He gets the Thunderbolt and no Para, so I get out of that barely. I let Bronzong die, and I can bring in Kingdra here, and I only have 3 turns of rain, but I can be able to knock out the Rotom. Rotom died to the crit. I don't know if that crit mattered. I don't think it did. Luke's going to be the one to come in here, so Luke comes in here and goes for the SD. So SD's up. Goes for E-Speed, and I barely live. I barely live. So Lottie is going to... So I'm able to get the kill off with Kingdra there. Lottie going to come in here, and I just let Kingdra die at this point because I have a Mon in the back that can take care of that Surf. And that Mon is yours truly, Heatran. And Heatran is a special item called Passive, so I let that Mon get boom, and Lottie dies, and that's gonna be game 2 in my favor. So yeah, very tough game. Very tough game. This game wasn't easy, bro. This game was not easy. Holy shit, man. Double Dragon is so good. Double Dragon is so good. Double Dragon plus a DD setter is just insanely powerful. You get so much crazy damage off those mons. It's insane. Like, once you get that momentum going, or once you get the momentum going from Mixed Gon plus Calm Mind Lottie, then DD Tar kind of just goes in, really. Yeah, again, luckily I had Pert living like barely. Like, Pert living barely really mattered. And, again, Rose getting that damage off on Tar, plus the poison mattered as well. So, I definitely got bailed out. I got bailed out this game. I did have a speed control in the back, though. I had Rotom. So, Rotom was still able to kind of get some momentum off this, or still able to get something off this in case, you know, the unfortunate would have happened. Yeah, in case the unfortunate happened. But yeah, I was able to get through this, and that's pretty much gonna be that. But yeah, this was a tough game, very tough game. Will not lie, very very tough game indeed against VoltyPichu. But yeah, we got one more game. We got one more game before this is over. So hold on tight. This one's gonna be close. This one's gonna be really close. This was almost as close as this one. But yeah, this game I really fucked up, man. I really messed up this one. Let me tell you something. This game was tough. This game was tough, especially with the team I was using. The team I was using, I wasn't even sure if I wanted to use it. I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna just use whatever I want. So I used BKT's the Raptor team, and that team is actually pretty fun. It's a fun team to use on ladder. Got a lot of cool things on that team. But yeah, I felt like I could use the team. I feel like, you know, I'd probably be okay with it, and I decided to just commit to it. So I committed, and here we go. So game 1 or game 3 for the final set. So we got Tar versus Starmie. Now I'm gonna tell you something about this lead, right? This lead doesn't really mean shit to Starmie, but I'm terrible. I'm terrible. I am some shit at this game. Let me tell you something. I'm some shit at this game sometimes. There are times when I'm good at this game, and then there's times I'm just like, man, what am I doing? What am I doing? But yeah, Starmie versus Tar lead. For one, Tar doesn't really care about Starmie. It doesn't really care about Starmie. Most of the time, a lot of the time, T-Tar just eats a hit from Starmie and just kills it off. Like, Starmie will do a shit ton of damage to it, but then in the process, it might end up dying. Now, let me tell you, this Starmie's actually Specs, and I'm gonna say it right now, this Tar is Scarfed, and Scarfed Tar only does one thing against Starmie. It will suit it, especially if it's Scarfed. I mean, if it's Scarfed, it could also crunch as well, but Suit's is also very free because they're expecting to switch out. Now, me, I should have pumped that. I should have pumped the Tar. But I was thinking of too many different scenarios against this Tar. Because it could be a Passo Tar. It could be again, Scarf as well. It could just Scarf Crunch me. There's just too many things Tar can do that I don't feel comfortable with Starmie. Which is why I switched out. Which is something you never want to do against Tar. You want to hit that bitch. That shit's a problem, man. That shit is actually a pain. It's better to hit than switch. So I should have definitely hit that Tar, but I didn't, and I died. So I threw out a really good wall breaker for his team, because let me tell you, man, his team could not handle Starmie. I'm gonna just spoil it right now. His team cannot handle it. So lesson learned here for you folks wanting to get into DPP. Hit what's in front of you, man. Hit what's in front of you. I'm really just gonna stress it. Just hit what's in front of you, cause 9 times out of 10, you'll probably get more out of it than the opponent will. Unfortunately, that didn't work out in my case. But yeah, if I pumped, I was okay. Let me show you the calc actually when it comes to Tar versus Starmie, like the pursuit play, because the pursuit play is a very interesting scenario to be in. But yeah, pursuit against Starmie, if I don't switch out, I would have lived it. It would have done a lot, but I would have lived it. But yeah, let me just show you real quick. So Starmie, Spec Starmie versus Tar versus Scarf Tar. So yeah, Suit does 58 to 69%. I was okay, and I would have killed it. I had a chance to kill it. Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta go with your gut and just hit what's in front of you. But yeah, I didn't do it, so that really mattered. I'm still kicking myself for not pumping, man. I'm still kicking myself so hard for not pumping. Why would Starmie ever need to switch out on T-Tar? The world may never know. I only did it in case he crunched. That's the only reason. Man, yeah, if I pumped, I was okay, because I would have been able to chip to potentially kill the Tar. But yeah, I didn't do it. So I had to play this game where I have to get burned with zone for no reason, and then I have to just try and get momentum off with it and try and T-wave things on switch-ins. So I have to try and T-wave whatever would come in, and the Clef's going to come in here on T-wave. So I looked at get T-wave. And then I have to go back in the meta and try to get momentum off that. And I do. So I go meta here, and he gets rocks down. So now I'm in some shit because I have to deal with, because let me tell you something. I have to deal with a burn zone, which zone's taking rocks plus burn chip. That's like 16%, almost 20%. That's a lot. It may not sound like a lot, but that's a lot. Like, I'm taking a lot of damage for no reason because I let Starmie die. But yeah, again, lesson learned. Hit what's in front of you and you'll be fine. But yeah, in that scenario, I don't know what made me think switching out Starmie was a good play. I guess I was really afraid of Crunch. I guess I really was just afraid of, I was just really afraid of Crunch. Yeah, that didn't really work out too well for me. But yeah, I have to go for Mash. Mash is nothing since this is max defense, Rotom. So yeah, this is nothing. I have to go into zone and let it get thunderbolted or get burned. So yeah. By the way, one thing to note about Rotom in this gen, I mean, I've already said it. I've said it like multiple times, but Rotom is actually electric and ghost, like all of its forms are. But also another thing to note is that Rotom, especially Rotom Heat, it's mostly defensive. It's mostly defensive. I think it's really weird how this one's how you see this one more often than the Wash one being defensive. I mean, it's not like it makes a difference because I mean they're all the same typing. But it's just interesting how that like kind of works. It really is just interesting how that works. But yeah, this being defensive and taking Mash very well is something I don't really want to deal with. And yeah, pretty much all I can do with zone is just try and thunderbolt it and get as much damage as I can with it. But also try and keep it alive if I can for whatever other mon could be in the back. But yeah, I go for thunderbolt. It does a lot. So it didn't take that thunderbolt very well. I go Tar here. So I go Tar here. They go for knockoff. So now my cut tap is gone, or my Chopple's gone. But what I have to do here is go for whatever whatever this is doing. So I go for Crunch here. Crunch does actually a lot to that Glass score. But pretty much I just say, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna hit this thing. And he goes for EQ. I live it. I Ice Beam it, and that's gonna be dead Glass score. So Glasser goes down. Tar's gonna come in here, and I'm just like, you know what, man? Take the wheel, man. Take the wheel. So Tar goes down. So I let my Tar die. Tar would have been kind of nice against Rotom, but the thing is that my Tar doesn't have Suit. And I mean, Crunch definitely would have been nice too, but he would be able to wear me down with Burn plus Thunderbolt, and that's not really too advantageous for me. So I was just like, you know what, man? Take them on. I don't need Tar anymore. So Tar goes down, and now this Tar is locked in, and I have a Mon that can actually apply pressure against Rotom, the Clef, and whatever else the other two Mons are. Now the only thing I was fearing was if he had a Skarmory. If he had a Skarmory, this game would be a lot harder. But the Mon I have in the back can actually take on Tar, especially Scarf Tar, because Scarf Tar doesn't usually run coverage for this Mon. I have Glasgow, and I have an SD set. SD Glasgow is actually pretty cool, but look what I told y'all. Look what I told y'all. He got Skarmory. So all I can do is just try and flinch it or freeze it. So I get 29% off, which actually isn't that bad. And Staraptor's gonna be the Mon to come in here. Now, Raptor, in this scenario, it's not that great because if I close combat, Rotom comes in for free and I can't do shit about that. It just gets a free burn or just thunderbolts me and I can't do anything off that. So all I have to do is go for Brave Bird. That's the best thing I can do because it covers for the Rotom, it also covers for Tar, it covers for Clef, it covers for the last Mon, which last Mon definitely isn't going to be definitely isn't like another steal. So I felt pretty okay to just Brave Bird. So I just Brave Bird because like that's going to do a lot, right? That's what I'm thinking. Nah, I didn't do that much. I mean 34 is okay, but it's not like amazing damage. But yeah, this thing's just going to be able to recover that off. And also he's running no item, so I didn't register this, but he actually was Shed Shell. So he's able to switch out here for free, and I get clowned on, and my zone's gonna die as well. So so Lottie comes in here, I go for Thunderbolt, and luckily for me I get a pair on that Thunderbolt. So kind of a trade back from the Thunderbolt on from the last game. They bring in Glasgow, and I'm just like, okay, if this thing is an Ice Beam, I just lose, but it's not. It's just gonna be a Calm Mind Roar set, which is like what almost every Lottie runs. Or at least like on teams like these, defensive Lottie just goes crazy on these kind of teams because it just applies a lot of, because I mean you get a lot of momentum off of Clef plus spiking from Skarm, and also you have the Rotom which just burns Tars. So defensive Calm Mind Lottie just kind of really goes crazy in these scenarios. It just goes insane. But luckily I got it paralyzed, and also this meta is a very special kind of meta gross. This one's actually Spadef, so it can take special hits fairly well. So it can take on this Calm Mind Lottie. So if I didn't get paralyzed, I was probably still okay. But or if I didn't get the parry there, I was probably still okay. But it definitely helped a lot, because now I can just kind of mash through it and outspeed it as well. Because in case you don't know how para works in Gen 4 and below, well actually Gen 6 and below, is that their speed goes down by 75%. So that means that Lottie is like, I think base, if it's paralyzed, I think it's like base 100 or something like that. It's very, very slow. It's like super slow, especially with it being defensive too. And usually defensive Lotties doesn't run max speed, so it's like somewhere around base 300 or something like that. So this thing is like dog shit slow. So I don't really have to worry about it that much. But so that pair came in very clutch. Though. That came in very, very clutch. But yeah, meta can still apply pressure, especially with the being able to get some mashes off and potentially some plus one boosts. Meta can still do it. Meta can definitely do it. So what I do here is I go for mash anyway. I think I did, or I switched. No, I switched out because I was expecting the Rotom or Skarm. But yeah, Skarm comes in here. I don't want to go for mash. Like I don't really want to keep spamming mash, because I only have 15 of those, and I didn't register it. I was really trying to win with Gliscor. Like I was already thinking, man, if Rotom gets the burn off on this Gliscor, then I just lose. That's pretty much what I was thinking this whole time. I really wasn't considering meta as an end game mon. I really wasn't, but I really should have been thinking about that mon, because this mon, if I can keep Gliscor healthy enough, and at least ship the Rotom to a point where it's forced to rest. Or at least force it to rest, because this is actually a rest talk Rotom, because rest talk Rotom works very well on these kinds of cores. If I can do that, then I can apply a lot of pressure to it and potentially, just try and break it down as much as possible. But yeah, really I wanted to try and see if I could win with Gliscor. That was really what I was looking toward. That was really what I was trying to aim towards for this game, for this end game anyway. But yeah, it didn't really work out too well. I go for the Ice Fang and try and get a freeze on it. No freeze, goes for Brave Bird, does 34% to me, so that is a lot from that Skarmory. But here's the thing that's really in my favor. It's the fact that this thing doesn't have recovery, or doesn't have leftovers. This thing not having leftovers is actually very, very advantageous for me, because I don't have to worry about, this thing being able to get recovery off and also being able to stall out my Metagross. Because you can't really do that without, running lefties to at least be able to add on more recovery to it. But yeah, I already said, like, here's the thing with me. I really give up too easily. I'm gonna give you some advice for you players out there that want to get into tournaments. Please don't give up too easily. Again, I gave up too easily because I was thinking Rotom was gonna win anyway. Like that's kind of what my mindset. That's kind of where my mindset was. Like the moment this thing burns me and also this Skarmory just walls me to death. Like really all I had to go off on with Gliscor was to go for freezes. Like that's really what I was thinking at this point. If I get a freeze on this thing, if I get a freeze on Skarmory, then Gliscor can win. That was literally my whole mindset. If I get a freeze, I can win with Gliscor. So that's what I had to go off of, or that's really what I had to do to get to go off that. But yeah, if I get it, then I'm in a good spot. So what he does here is he switches into Rotom here as I go for an SD. Oh no, I go for Ice Fang here. So I go for Ice Fang here, and I do get the freeze there. So I get the freeze on this turn, and now I pretty much I can't talk. Pretty much I'm just like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna SD, and I pretty much force him to, if I get the SD off, then I could potentially get through this. But yeah, he wakes up turn 1. He gets the turn 1 thaw, and he gets the rest as well. So now he can just go for Sleep Talk. And these things run, they can just run Sleep Talk plus Wisp. So I get my plus 4. He gets Thunderbolt instead of Wisp. So that's very, very good for me. But yeah, pretty much I can go for my Night Slash, and I'm at plus 4 and it doesn't kill. Again, this is the power of Max Defense Rotom. This thing can just take hits. And he gets the burn too, so that makes it even worse. So Rotom is going to live, Rotom will die now. Pretty much going to get sacked here. And I go for my Ice Fang and kill it off. So I kill off the Rotom now. And now he can bring a Skarmory. And pretty much, again, like I said, all I have to do is try and go to freeze. So I'm trying to go for another freeze. I know it's like crazy to go for that again, but like I don't have much else to do. And also you can just run me down with Burn plus Brave Bird. So really in this scenario, there's not much I can do besides just keep going for this. So I just keep going for it. I do 20%. So it's still like decent damage, but it's not enough. It's not really like a lot. But yeah. Let's keep going for the Ice Fang here. Get as much damage as I can on it. So 24%, 21%, 24, whatever. Gonna be able to roost that off. And lefty's still, but the burn will take me out. Will take me out next turn. So I go for Ice Fang again, trying to get as much damage as I can. Brave Birds me and I die. So there goes my glass score. And now pretty much, like I said, all I have left to really try to pressure through him is Skarmory and Metagross. Now Skarmory, or not, wow, Skarmory is Starmie, is Staraptor, and Metagross. Now Staraptor's Choice Bandit, and there's not much I can do besides just click Brave Bird to Close Combat. Close Combat actually covers everything else now since Rotom's dead. So Close Combat is actually the freest move I have now. Pretty much that forces him to sack Clef and allows him to get a kill with Tar, but it also gives me a momentum with Meta. So if he sacks Clef, then I could potentially set up with Metagross and be able to try and get some mash +1 boost. So I'm going to try and do here. I go Raptor here. Raptor's going to be pretty much dead after whatever I do. So I go for Close Combat. It does nothing. It does nothing. He's able to roost that off. So I'm at least like wearing down his roost at least. So he's wearing those. I mean, I'm wearing those down. But he sacks Clef here to Close Combat. So Clef dies there, and Tar can just revenge kill me with the Pursuit, and I die because again, like I said, he's Choice Scarf on this. So I die to the suit, and now I get Meta in here, and Meta is actually good because this thing can't phase. None of these can phase anymore. So literally all I have to do is just fish for matches. Like, one, I have to land. I have to land. I got to land my matches, and then I have to get those +1 boosts. If I get the +1 boost enough to where Skarmory can't really, do much back, then I'm good. Really, Meta just needs to go +3, and then I'm good to go. Cause Lottie can't beat me, and Tar's too weak. Tar can't kill me even with a crit. So pretty much that's what I do. I sack Raptor there to make sure I get momentum off that. I go for Mash, and Lottie is gonna live it, of course, since it is defensive. But Mash will be able to kill it off if I can land the next one. Now I do land the next one, and Lottie is gonna go down. So Lottie goes down there. And now again it's Skarmory versus the world, or Skarmory versus Metagross. So I go for Mash. Mash is 17%. I'm just trying to fish for the +1, and also he's wasting his roost as well. But again, I have 12 of these left, so I got 12. I get 16. Brave Bird Chip doing 13, not doing too much. So yeah, pretty much I just keep spamming this until I get a +1. So I get 16 again. I get the +1 finally. So now this will be doing a little bit more damage. So I can just keep going for Mash still. So I keep going for Mash. Also, it was a speed tie, so I was right. Okay, so I didn't notice it. Well, actually, no, I did notice it. I noticed it during the game that his Skarmory we were actually speed tying. So he was running like I guess some speed investment on it, or actually no, it's no speed because I think this meta had no speed as well. It was just a bulky meta. But yeah, his Skarmory being with the speed tie I definitely say it matters a little bit because if he gets it, or if he gets his roost off, then I can just EQ anyways. So I pretty much just kind of switch between Mash and EQ a couple times. But yeah, I go for Mash. It is 23%. So that's a little bit more than 16%, but like it's still gotta keep going for. But yeah, I get the I win the speed tie there. Goes for spikes there, and I get my +2 boost. I get a +2. He goes for a roost there. So he wants the speed tie there. I go for another Mash. Now it's doing 33%. And again, I'm trying to go for that +3, and that +3 is coming real soon. So he goes for another spike, just again to keep wasting PP. I get a 34 roll, and I get the +3. So now +3 is enough to where I can just keep matching and not really have to worry too much about it. But again, he still has enough roost left, and there's also the chance of him winning the speed tie as well. So what I do here is I think I go for EQ on this turn in case he wins the speed tie, and he actually doesn't win it. I win it this time. But yeah, he's able to get his slow roost off, or get the roost there. And pretty much I just have to go for Mash again. Mash doing 44%. He goes for a spike there instead of roosting. And all I have to do is land, and I do land, and there goes the Skarmory. So Skarmory goes down. I get a +4, and Tar is not killing me with any of these moves. It's not going to kill me with any of these moves. And pretty much the Tar goes down, and that's going to be GG. So yeah, that was a very rough game. This was a very rough series. Like, I really got to stop doubting myself when I play. I really do. Again, it's a very, very bad habit that I have. Again, this all could have been avoided if I just pumped the Tar. This all could have been avoided if I just pumped Tar. But yeah, I didn't commit to that. And because of that, well, I ended up having a 46 turn game when this game probably could have been cut in half. But still, it was a good series. I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it a lot playing Volty, or playing Pichu. But yeah, honestly, I really did enjoy playing both these sets. They were very fun to play. They were tough, especially this series. This series was very tough for me. But still, I do appreciate playing these guys. So shout outs to VoltyPichu and also Heysup, and yeah, again, I got I don't really want to like, yeah, like this series was something else, man. These series were something else. But I hope you guys enjoy my breakdown of these games and whatnot. I apologize if I talk way too fast. I just like when I talk about something I'm very excited about, I just talk so fast about it. So I do apologize. But yeah, good series. We're moving on to round 2. So I'll see you on round 2. Be safe, wash your hands, and peace out.